Jay Haynes for the Film Sensei YouTube channel. Today in this video, I am going to take an in-depth look at the newest version of HitFilm Pro, HitFilm Pro version 14. So number one, overhaul of the export process. Previously in HitFilm version 13, the export process was its own screen, but now the export process is a panel that is located within the editor window. So if I look at window, window and export, you'll see here is the export screen. Okay. It can be moved to wherever you want it to be moved to. And that export screen can then be utilized to do an export. So for example, if I were to drop in this video and I just wanted export, I could just drag and drop that right to the exporter and it would export it there. Okay. Also, of course, I can set my in and out points this way. Click export and it will immediately ask if I want or what I want to call it, and then it will immediately begin exporting that. Also, as you can see, if I click on the arrow next to it, I can say export now, in and out, contents, add to queue, in and out, contents, and I can even change my default presets. So the export system is vastly improved in that now it is a panel by itself in the editor windows instead of being its own window by itself. Number two, more text control features. So if I were to add a new text and I just typed in my text, now there are a lot more controls that I have over that text. Starting with the new true type effects where they can be big caps, small caps, all small, etc., and so on. You can add underlines to it. You can add strike through to it. You can have footnotes and whatnot here, all of that kind of stuff. These can be stretched higher and lower. They can be moved. They can be stretched out and up and down, as well as the letters themselves or the spaces between the letters themselves. Also, these things can be adjusted within this section, and they can also be slid. The kerning is all fixed and adjusted. So lots more controls over exactly how you would make text in HitFilm. Number three, automatically centered mask shapes. This is something that we have wanted for a long time in the HitFilm community. Let's say, for example, that I wanted to make a perfect circle inside. What we do is we look at these X and Y coordinates down here, and we would try to get as close to 0 as we can with that. And then we would drag the mask and hold that and hold this hotkey to try and get that perfect, right? Well, now all you have to do is just double click on that and poof, there it is. You have an automatically centered mask that is in or on this layer, on this plane, whatever you want it to be. It does not have to be a mask that is circular. I can also double click, creating a rectangular centered mask as well. And I can make those adjustments, and you can see right away that it is centered exactly where you want it to be. So that way you can create your cropping or your vignette look or something like that, knowing that that mask is perfectly in the center of the layer. Number four, drag and drop to make a composite shot. Previously, if you wanted to take something in the media bin and make it into a composite shot, you would right-click on it and say, make into a composite shot. Well, down here, you can click and automatically make a composite shot. Now you can just drag that into there and it will automatically make a composite shot for you. Pretty slick little feature, big time saver for you when you're working quickly in HitFilm Pro. Number five, drag and drop chroma key and light flare effects to a spot. So let's say, for example, I have this composite shot and I want to drag a light flare directly into this shot. Previously, it would just drag it in and put it 300 by 300, but now wherever I drag that to, it will automatically place that light flare there. Then I can move that if I want, but it's pretty cool to have that drag and drop to the spot that I'm asking it to be dragged and dropped to. Also, the same goes for the chroma key effect. So, for example, if I want to key out the green screen, I would go ahead and drag it to the green screen, and it automatically keys out the green of that pixel that I placed that on. If I dragged it somewhere else, then it would key out that instead. So that's a pretty neat little time-saving feature for you. Number 6, Chromatic Aberration effect. So this effect can be found in the channel folder, and it is, strangely enough, called the Chromatic Aberration effect. So if I have a shot and I drop this onto the video, then you can see how much it changes the effect of this shot, creating a very interesting chromatic aberration effect. You can, of course, make lots and lots of changes here to this, and it will dramatically adjust the look of whatever video you are putting it on. Number 7, mini audio meters. So this is a small effect, but it's pretty cool. Basically, right here, you have these small audio meters that you can look at and be able to level your video footage as you are working in it so that you don't have to bring up another panel with the audio meters in it. Number 8, panel manipulation improvements. This is a pretty big one in that previously, working with these panels and changing your workspace was a little bit cumbersome, but now you can see that there are little hamburger icons next to each one, which allows you to float the panel as well as close it or move it around, that sort of a thing. Also, if I click on the hamburger icon over here, I can now add any panel that I would like to add very quickly and very easily. So, for example, I might add a export panel right here, okay? Or I might over here add a audio mixer panel, and then I might go ahead and slide that to be next to my editor panel, sort of a thing. I can add any panel that I want within any other panel area, and that makes it super simple and very, very easy to be able to bring in the panels, use them, and then if you need to, immediately close them out. Number 9, Boolean search features. So if you were to hover your mouse over the search window, you'll see that now there are search operators. They are Boolean style search operators. So for example, in these 3 clips, if I wanted to see the scale, comma, the position, comma, and the opacity, then I could pull up searching asking for all 3 of those, okay? If I wanted to see something that has something but doesn't have something else in it, then I would ask for an A minus something, or I could ask for results of A plus something. It has to have both, or I could ask for results that have one with a child of it. Also, you can use brackets to form more complicated searches as well. Number 10, the U key. This is a very interesting feature that I'm sure will be a huge time saver. The U key basically shows any modifications. If you hit U once, it will show you all of the keyframe modifications that you have made. If you hit the U key a second time, it will show you any modifications, whether it has been keyframed or not. And then if you hit the U key a third time, it will bring you back to your normal view of your clips. So again, U key once shows you keyframed modifications. U key twice shows you any modifications to a clips. And U key the third time takes you back to showing you all of the clips as normal. Number 11, dragging over layers to lock and or change the visibility. So before, if you wanted to change the visibility of everything, you had to click on it, 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 click on it. If you wanted to change the locking, you clicked on it, clicked on it, clicked on it. You had to go down and just click, 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 click. Well, now you can grab it and then just drag it down, right? Or you can drag through. Same with the locks. You can lock everything by grabbing, or you can unlock everything by grabbing. So you just click on one and then drag down from there, and it will automatically change all of them as you drag through. Pretty slick. Number 12, favorite effects folder. So now you'll see in the effects panel that there is a new folder called favorites. This is to allow you to pick different effects, and if you star them, then they will end up in your favorites folder. So now the effects that you like to use a lot, for example, you will click on that and you'll find them quickly and easily in the favorites folder. Number 13, the effect plus icon. So this has been a feature in here before, but it has changed. Under any asset, you can click on the little plus icon next to effects, and now it will bring up a search menu, which you can then search for and find something and then hit enter, and it will immediately drop it into your folder. I can click this little pin icon, and now I can search for several effects and drop that in, and then maybe I will add another effect and drop that effect in, and it will start dropping these things in immediately. Also, the cool thing is that when you open this up, it will show you all of the recent effects that you have used. So that way, if you want to add these in to a different asset, you can do that as well. Number 14, text animation behaviors are now available on the editor timeline. So this was available to be done in composite shots, but now it's available in the editor timeline. I have this text sitting on the editor timeline. If I open up the controls panel, you can see that I have behaviors, effects, and if I click on the plus icon, it brings up my search menu, and you can see it also brings up the animation or all the effects that are available, including all the ones in the animation folder. I can just select one. I think I'll just select that one, and now you can see that this animation is available right here in the editor timeline, and just like previously, you can make your adjustments here. You can have it come in and out and do whatever you want easily and quickly right here in the editor timeline. Number 15, support for selected After Effects plugins. This includes Red Giant's Trapcode Particular, as well as Video Copilot's Element 3D, Optical Flares, Saber, Orb, and Heat Distortion plugins. So I downloaded Video Copilot's Saber plugin, and when I installed that directly into the HitFilm plugins folder, it created a new folder called Video Copilot, and Saber Layer Only was added. I then was able to very quickly create this lightsaber effect on this video clip, and it utilizes the Video Copilot's lightsaber effect instead of the normal HitFilm lightsaber effect. So if you own any of these After Effects plugins that are supported, you will now be able to use them directly in HitFilm Pro. And number 16, live video textures for 3D models. These textures now can be layers within your project file. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the biggest game changer of the entire HitFilm 14 version here. I'm going to import a 3D model. And the 3D model I'm going to import is the X-Fighter from Video Copilot. Now, if I open this up, I can start adding my diffuse maps. So I will browse for a file, and I will use this diffuse here. I will go ahead and use a specular and even a normal map. Great. Okay. I can change all of my illumination models and things like that. But notice that we have a new little icon here. This is the override material in the timeline icon. When I hit this, this little import maps button becomes available. Watch this. This now becomes available And if I click on this, it automatically imports these maps into HitFilm into their own folders. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And let's go ahead and create a new composite shot. And we will drag this X-Wing fighter in. And let me add a light. And let me just position this light. And let me just real quickly rotate this around here so that you can see the fighter a little better. I'm going to move the camera slightly just so that you have an idea here. It'll be pretty easy to see it. Okay, so now if I open up the model X-Fighter and override materials, now you can see that right now it is from the file. But if I were to drag this into here and turn it off, then I can go ahead and use that as my diffuse map. Okay, it gets better. Let me remove that, and instead I'm going to make this into its own composite shot. So now this composite shot I can drag in here, hide it, and source that as the overriding diffuse map. Here's the cool part. Now that I have this here, I can modify this. So for example, I might add a brightness and contrast effect to it. And I can change make it maybe a little more contrasting, make it a little darker, and it will automatically update it here in this shot. If I maybe decide, hey, I think I want to add something else. Let's just add this. Let me zoom in on this a little bit here. And let me just place this over here. Hold on. Let me just rotate it. And let me do this real quickly. Just setting it like that. Now when I come back to my main shot, all of a sudden it is there on the model itself, right? So the model itself now has the updated texture, but it gets better because I can actually say, for example, let me just rename this film Sensei, and let me duplicate that, and let's just call this one something else. Let's use my buddy Triam. We'll just drop this in, and I'm going to, in the Triam one, I'm just going to go ahead and change, and we'll just say Triam 23, whoops, 23. And now if I come back, let me rename this Film Sensei so that I know which one it is. If I duplicate it and I rename that one Triam 23, and I go ahead and move that, so now I have a second one. But all I have to do is just change the source material for that particular diffuse to the Triam, and now I have two different X-Wings with two different diffuse models on it. But it gets even better because these can actually change over time. So for example, if I were to drag this burn mark into this shot, for instance, and maybe make an adjustment on it so that it looks a little bit like it belongs here, all of a sudden this has now been added to my spaceship. And not only that, but that doesn't have to be there right away. So it could start, okay, and then I can add that, and then it will add itself to the shot as it continues. So I could have a burn mark after a laser strike has hit that over time. So these textures can actually change over time, and that is a game changer. That is the coolest effect, I think, the coolest feature that we are seeing in HitFilm Pro version 14. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell icon for notifications. And hey, thanks for watching.